So, a little bit around how I got to this method and how I started using it. So, I personally come from the world of real estate investing and being a landlord. And because the demand for housing was so high for so long, I never really valued the leads that I got for residents or thought much about creating a database of potential renters or clients. Well, fast forward a few years later when I decided to go into financial services, and I followed all the advice of my mentors. And don't get me wrong, it was good and valuable and tried and true advice, the normal stuff to go network, build your brand, host booths at the local fair, that sort of thing. The problem was that I realized that my income would be limited to those that knew me and their personal network. So basically, if my clients network was not full of the high income business owner clients that I wanted, then my business would be stuck, right? And so the advice was to follow their instructions. And if you did, you would add about 50 grand per year, every year. And that sounds good. And I did that. And I can tell you in the first year, I hit bang on that 50K. But I realized that my lifestyle and my goals are bigger than that. And so if I wanted to have a larger impact, and I want to have, let's say, 50K months instead of 50K years in my business, then I'm going to have to do something different. And so, the truth is, I have a family. You may even hear my son snoring in the background here. Hashtag mom life. But I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a caregiver. So I really don't need any more constraints on my time or anything else that requires me to show up at a certain time or in a certain location. At the same time, I also need to build my brand and visibility in the marketplace. And I needed something that would allow me to be consistently inconsistent, right? And be able to show up when I need to and turn it on and turn it off at will. And so that's why I like this model, because it allows you to expand your network with other high quality professionals. And it does not require you to spend a lot of time. And it's also high in value for everyone involved, for all the participants. Okay. And so why this model? Most people build their business, and their business is made up of what I like to call a bunch of random sporadic events that sometimes make money. And what that means is they do not have a real foundation of intellectual property or tangible value. So that means they constantly have to chase after clients and jump through hoops to hit their revenue goals. And what's more than that is, if or when they do hit those numbers, they feel like they have nothing to show for it and all the risks they took as a business owner. So that's why I decided to approach business differently. Okay. And so I have an entirely new way of looking at business and its activities. And I like to call this an asset driven ecosystem. Okay. And an asset driven ecosystem is when a business focuses on building tangible assets that can be monetized over the long term. And this makes the business more simple, more scalable, and it takes up less time. In short, it allows the business to make more money in a sustainable manner. And as business owners, our responsibility is to grow the business so that it can flourish and thrive with or without our constantly having to crank the wheel. And so, in order to do so, that means that our responsibility in growing the business comes down to focusing on three areas, and that is driving revenue, profit, increasing cash reserves, as well as executing on a plan to expand. And every business, no matter how large or how small they are, they have to manage these three areas. And smart business owners, they realize they have the option to either A, sit at the helm again of this collection of random sporadic events that sometimes makes money, or they can spend their time and energy building, buying, and managing assets that consistently earn revenue. And so if you're here, you likely like the idea of option B. And assets are a stronger path to build your business on because assets lead to wealth. Okay. So, in order to grow a person's net worth, they have to focus on accumulating assets. And what most people don't realize is that a business can be a mechanism for creating and leveraging assets. And so, these three areas of driving revenue, increasing cash reserves, and executing a plan to expand, they can be either very simple or incredibly complex. It really just depends on you. But over time, I've come to realize that most people, to be honest, they don't even want a business. For them, a business is simply a means to an end, and that's okay. Basically, most people want a lifestyle and a way to generate income and opportunity that supports that lifestyle. And so, after testing a lot of actions and researching similarities amongst the large, enduring brands like the mega corporations, I realized that they all have an asset or a pool of potential clients and customers that see them as an authority. And all they do is consistently invite people to join in. They create systems around it and they harvest sales from it. Okay. From that pool of people. And so I came to this premise, and the premise is this: that business should not require constant reinvention or be composed of trending fads. Instead, enduring business comes from unique insights and intellectual property that drive so much value that people recognize just how much they need it in order to make their lives better. That said, the first and most critical step in this entire asset driven ecosystem is to garner attention, authority based attention. And we do that by hosting events with collaborating partners that drive people to our authority asset. In this case, I like to call that our email list. And that what that does is that allows you to add a flood of new subscribers and buyers on demand, where the audience sees you as the, I like to call the de facto grand poobah of whatever whatchamacallit it is that you do. So if you want a captive full of leads, clients, and referrals this year, then you need to focus on building your authority asset.